Oh, hello, good evening, good night, good day, whoever is listening. My name is Daniel Simpson, and I just have a few words to say about Joe Taylor. Yeah, Joe was a man who was dedicated to his tennis and his good friends, and he always made sure that everybody had the best coaching experience, and he was tough, but he was also very generous in his information as relating to tennis, and always never a dull moment around Joe. He was always happy to teach you anything that you needed to know, and and even though a lot of people would sometimes say, oh, based on his sternness, he would say that he's rough, but I always try and tell him that no, he just wants the best of everyone, and that's why he's so adamant that you doing the right thing, you know. Oh, I have a story to tell. The first time I experienced the Yangling bear, it was in the park, and Joe took one out and said, "Hey, try this beer, man. This beer is great." And so when I heard that Joe died, I went out and I bought me a six-pack of Yetling, and I had two, and I called his name a couple of times before I had those two beers. And that was a good experience for me, and I'm sure other people has great experiences from being around Joe. Loved his music, always listened to some great soul and jazz, you know, and always willing to go out and help someone if you see them hitting incorrectly or not doing something that they should do. He would be the first one to get up and say, "Come on, that's not the way, bam, this way," and usually it works out. I will remember Joe every time I pass a tennis court or use a tennis racket or see a Yangling bear, I will remember Joe. And in the words of the African proverb, we should all call his name, because it says, "If you call my name, I live." That's the way to remember Joe. Thank you.
Malfunction there. But yes, my name is CJ, and I'd like to tell you a little story about when I first met Joe Taylor. It was in the South End eons ago when I was just taking up the game of tennis. And we was playing on the court, playing doubles. And I can remember the ball coming over to my side. Joe hit it. And I was behind the line, and I caught it. And I said, "Out." And Joe came to the net smiling. And you know what he said to me? He said, "Okay, where did it hit?" And I said, "Oh my God." So the moral of the story, that was a lesson for me. Always let the ball bounce is what he was trying to tell me and show me. So that's my little story. God bless you. It was nice to meet you, my friend.
Hi, my name is Raymond Collins, and I'm here to celebrate Joe Taylor, Coach Joe. I've always called him JoJo. And JoJo and I go back about 30, 40 years. And I met Joe on the tennis courts playing during that time. And since that time, I've always had a relationship with him. He was a very nice guy. And I remember one time there was I don't know if you remember the Carter Playground tournaments that they had back in the late 70s, early 80s. And I had a tournament, and I played a match against Joe. And that match went on forever and ever, and it was hot out there. It was burning up. It was so hot that we had to sit down between sets and whatnot and get our wind together and get some refreshments in us. But it went on and on and on, and after the match was over, I'm not going to say who won the match, but after the match was over, I could not go on to the next match, and I don't think he could either because I was dehydrated. I had to forfeit the next match, you know, and that's how we ended up, you know, really getting together and getting down with tennis. But Joe was a nice guy, and I really appreciate Joe, you know, and not only we became good friends, and you know, and he supported me in the times that I was down and doing some things that was not good, but and he was in my corner and he supported me, and we just remained friends from then on. So I really appreciate Joe, and I miss him really bad, you know. So hopefully I'm here with his family, and we're going to celebrate him and have a good time. Thank you very much for your time.
I'm Josh Cameron, and I'm a Sportsman's Tennis Center alum. And Coach Joe was a very special man, a very great coach, a good influence, good role model. And I will, as I'm sure everybody else, will miss him very much. And I appreciate everything that he's done for me and for tennis and for the community. And I look to be as inspirational as he was in the future. And I just want to thank Joe for everything.
Hi, I'm Rika, and I was playing with Joe for several years on and off. Joe is my absolute favorite coach. So given the choice between Anthony or Joe, I would choose Joe even if he was teaching the beginners. Sorry, Anthony. One thing I remember about Joe is if I think it was on a cruise, there was a party on the cruise, and he came in with a cane. And somebody said, "Look at that guy. He was dancing up a storm." And one woman said, "Look, he came in with a cane, and now see, he's dancing like, you know." So I think you either love Joe or you hate Joe. I know some friends just didn't like Joe because they didn't realize how funny he was. But I always thought Joe was hilarious, and I absolutely adored him. So I'm gonna miss him a lot. Bye, Joe.
Hi, it's Bindu. I've known Joe for a very long time. I don't know if it's been about 15 years with FBTA, and always saw him at the park, always playing tennis, always with Anthony, his grandson. I really enjoyed seeing him raising Anthony over the years at the tennis courts. He and I always enjoyed music, I know, and we did a lot of dancing at different functions over the years, and he was always backing it up, you know. Anyway, yeah, I think that he's been a wonderful mentor to so many people teaching tennis over all these years, kids and adults, and a really good friend to all of us. And sorry, to the family, but it's a great thing to celebrate his life and all of his accomplishments for the community and for our friendship with him all these years. So, yeah, we'll all miss him.
Hi, I am Keisha Smith, and I have been with Franklin Park Tennis Association for a couple of years. I've been playing, and Joe Taylor was my first coach, and he taught me a lot, and I learned that he was passionate about the sport. And he may have been a little hard on us, but it was for good reasons. And he had a sense of humor, and he was always encouraging. So for that, I'm going to miss him. I didn't know him long, but in that short amount of time, I did learn a lot about him and the appreciation and the love he had for the sport. Thank you. Rest in power.
Hello, my name is Malcolm. I'm a good friend of Joe, and he was one of my best friends, and he's one of the best guys you would ever want to meet. And I just want to thank God, for allowing me to know him. I love him, and I know he's in a better place. Hallelujah. Amen.
Hi, my name's Kamal Mali. I've known Joe for many years at Sportsman and at Franklin Park. Joe has always been inspirational. He taught me how to play tennis, and he was always up for having a good time at parties, playing cards, games. I'm going to miss you, Joe, so much, and I'm so grateful for the time that we were able to spend with you. You're a very good man.
Hi, my name is Nikki, and I am child number 4 of Joseph, my dad, and I'm the youngest girl, and I just wanted to say that I am very grateful for the group of friends that he surrounded himself with. Supposed to be professionally, but this is his family as well, because he loved what he did, and he always said, if you find something that you do, you pick a job that you love, then you will never work a day in your life. And I believe that, and I believe tennis helped to save him in so many ways. As he taught others, he grew, and as he was a coach to many, he became like a dad to them in a lot of ways too. There was a lot of wisdom sitting on his shoulders. He was the first grandchild to his grandmother, and he was raised by his grandmother predominantly. So he was the youngest of basically his grandmother's children. He had a lot of wisdom from them. I would say, what do you got there? Maybe at least 500 years of, if you add all their ages up, over 500 years of, different people and their teachings and lessons from them. And then he lived his own life. So I just want to say I'm grateful for what he ended up surrounding himself with. And he fought so hard with this cancer. It started as prostate and went into all these ugly, nasty areas. But my dad really, always say people are so strong when they're fighting cancer, and you have to have a mental capacity. And he mentally took it on as, okay, what's next? It was never, oh my God, I want to quit. It was always, what is next? And that's when he stopped the chemo was the last thing. So what is next? It was peace and comfort, right? And to surround yourself with family and loved ones. And you guys, Franklin Park Tennis has picked that up, and now they're going to continue to do their game nights and stuff. And I love that. I love the idea of it. I got to wrap my emotions around some things. It's pretty fresh, but I am grateful for you guys. I want to have fun tonight. And in honor of my father, my name is Winner, and I'm going to cheat.
My name is Ted Lewis, and of course I'm the videographer. And this is a tribute to Joe Taylor. Joe Taylor was a man of resilience. No matter what his afflictions were, he always came back. And I'm so sorry to see that this role model, especially for young men, especially for people who play tennis, how to play it and how to play it correct. Because Joe knew that if you went into other people's tennis courts, you had to play according to the rules. And that's what he did. He played according to the rules. Thank you so much, Joe. You will be missed, but you will be deeply remembered for all that you've done.
Go. Hi, I'm Jada. Wanted to take a few minutes just to say some wonderful things about Joe. Joe has been a pivotal person in my life. He's been there as a father figure, as a friend, as a confidant. He's been all the different things that I could possibly wish for or hope for. He's definitely a once in a lifetime type of person, but then also one in a million. He taught me how to do a wonderful backhand to get through like the hardest times. He's been there, somebody who would get down on the floor and color and play games with me. So being able to be here and honor him and playing his favorite game, Six Rock, and sharing that love with everyone else who hadn't had a chance to do that, it's been a beautiful moment to do that, to see everybody else laugh and enjoy that. So I hope he's here with us and he can see how proud he's made us and that we're making him proud too. So we love you, Joe. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Janine Lang, and I'm with Franklin Park Tennis Association. I met Joe in 2005 when I first started playing tennis, and he took me under his wing. You know, there weren't as many female players back then when I started, and there was a lot of resistance to giving me court time, and Joe took me under his wing, and we started playing doubles together as he taught me. And over time, you know, we started winning, you know, and many of the guys didn't really like that much. So we started talking about every time we won and we beat the guys, that we could put their name in the pink book. And over time, almost everyone's name has been put in that pink book. And it was because of Joe that not only I got to be a better player and a stronger player, but we have so many more women playing as well. And Joe was a great teacher. Over the years, we've, you know, since I've been running Franklin Park Tennis Association, Joe has been part of the team in every form and fashion. You know, if we wanted to do presentations to different groups or we wanted to do new programming, a lot of that came from Joe. You know, he was willing to go and do whatever he needed to do to help promote the organization and help grow tennis. So he's been fantastic as a tennis coach, as a tennis player, as my friend, as my family over all the years. Thank you so much, Joe, for everything.
Hi, Joel. This message is for you. I know you are very happy now, but I just want to let you know that I always gonna remember you because of your dedication. You always go an extra mile to help us. I remember that you said, slow down, girl. It's not a baseball game. So I really learned a lot. I definitely know that a lot of people learn so much from you, and we're going to keep you forever. So your name is going to be all the time in our mind. Love you, Joe.
Hello, my name is Tracy Johnson, and I, along with my family, my husband Stephen, my son Isaiah, and my daughter Hyacinth, have learned to play tennis from Coach Joe. We met him 14 years ago when my son was 5 years old, and we was introduced to the program by Coach Billy, and we came up to sportsmen, and week after week, Isaiah swinging, trying to hit the ball, couldn't quite hit the ball, and I had to tell Miss Janine, can you go let the coach know that Isaiah is left-handed, not right-handed? And so I could see Coach Joe looking at him as Coach Joe would look at people and say, what you doing? Why you tell me you're left-handed instead of right-handed? And my son at that time just looked up at him like, I don't know. But that's one fond memory of Coach Joe. I know he always used to ask us, where do we play tennis at? In front of us. And, you know, stop trying to play golf with your tennis racket. I always had good times with FPTA, and Coach Joe learned a lot of lessons, and he's going to be truly missed. And both of my kids participated in the tennis program, tennis camp for many years, and he taught them there as well. But we'll miss, and best wishes to him and the family, to Anthony and the family. All right, bye.
That's Sarda Cooper. It's been a while since I've been playing tennis, but the days that I played tennis, Joe was such a wonderful, able, and fun coach. It's hard to think he's gone. He was so vital, full of life, and we really enjoyed his presence. We really enjoyed his enthusiasm for the game. And most of all, the way he explained and demonstrated to make you feel like, oh, I could be pretty good at this. I really enjoyed knowing Joe.
Good night. My name is Malika, and I just want to show and share my appreciation for Coach Joe and the Franklin Park Tennis Association. I first started taking tennis lesson, I think 2014. That was my first time doing anything with tennis, and I just finished grad school, looking for a job, couldn't find a job, but that was like one of the one thing that, helped me get through that period of like searching for what was the next step in my career and like life. And I really enjoyed my time there. I obviously, being new, started off in Coach Joe's class, and it was really helpful to me, and I've been taking lessons on and off, since then. And this year I really, since I think January or February, that session, winter session, I've been consistently going to lessons. And again, I was in Coach Joe's class, and he always pushes us to do more, even when we think that, there's nothing else that we can do, or it's good enough. For him, it's like you can do better. Like, you know what you're supposed to do, and he's not gonna just let you slide and just continue with the using the bad habits that you might have picked up over time. He always corrects you and like just encourage you to do better and be better. And so for that, I really appreciate him, because I can see, other people, they might not be comfortable, or they just let it go. But for him, it was important to whatever you're doing, to do it properly. And so I really appreciate that, and him being, consistently encouraging everyone, and frankly, having a lot of patience to keep saying the same. The same words over and over, and once it clicks, it really was like and also when you finally get it, he celebrates with you, and he's happy for you. So it's not just like on you to just do well, but once you get it, it's like, see, I knew you had it in you. So I just want to share my appreciation for him, and I definitely plan to continue with tennis going forward. And without him and the Franklin Park Tennis Association, I wouldn't have gotten that started. So thank you.
Hi everyone, this is David Jones, Quentin's dad, as people kind of knew me, and I met Joe about 15 years ago. I think my son was 7, and we were looking for an activity to do in the afternoons, and somebody said there's free tennis being offered. And one thing led to another. I brought my son, and like I said, this is about 15 years ago, and I met Joe, and we became really close because he would pick my brains not only about what I was doing, what my profession was, where I came from, and we got to talking, exchanging numbers, and every time he had a problem with his phone or with either his cable box or his Fire Stick or his Android box or something, he would call me up to get them reprogrammed or something technological. Because even though, I didn't know how old Joe was, and it amazed me that he was still playing tennis when I found out his real age. And I was like, okay, so, if Joe's, however old Joe was at that time, I could still play. And I picked up tennis after Janine bugged me while I was waiting for my son. Like I said, Joe and I got to talking, and I found out he was originally from North Carolina. And I was telling him about the Barbadian linkage to North Carolina and how the people that the British brought from the islands went up to North Carolina, and he just told me about where he came from, and we got to talking and talking and talking, and like it was more than tennis. I mean, I knew him from tennis, but I didn't know about all the other things that Joe did beyond tennis. We would joke about him working in Framingham building cars. And then subsequently I knew that he drove the bus. And then I was like, wait, you drove the #1 bus? So I think I know you from... And it just kept going and going and going. I didn't know that so many people knew Joe. I thought that this was just Joe from tennis. But he just accepted me and my son, and we got close, like a father and a son, even though we were not blood related. I mean, everybody else talks about Joe being a family beyond blood family, and that's what it felt like. I mean, Anthony now, you know, we always joke with Anthony. I could probably go on and on, but I don't want to take all of the space. He's gonna be missed, but the one thing that I really liked about Joe is he was honest. And honest criticism is better than telling a kid that you are good when you really couldn't play. Joe would tell you that, yes, it was a bad shot, but it wasn't meant to put you down. It was meant to make you play better. And I've taken part of that with me, because in my classroom, I don't tell kids that they're good when they actually are no good. I call them out on the stupidity that they do, from a place of love, like how Joe coached tennis. Like how Joe would tell me he wanted something done, I'd get it done to the best that I could. If I couldn't, I'll tell him, and he was fine with it. He really was fine with it. So may he rest in peace, and that he will live on to the rest of us. He will. And that's it for me.
Hello, I'm Jacqueline Rodriguez, and I met Joe when I was a team member of a women's C team at Sportsman's. And Joe was helping to coach our team, and he told me about the Franklin Park Tennis Association Sunday clinics. And he's the one that got my family involved in FPTA. And my girls were kind of raised by Joe in a way on the tennis court. Joe was instrumental in getting them to play, teaching them how to be junior coaches themselves, and they're heartbroken to know of his passing, and they loved him very much, and they used to get a kick out of him, and loved him very much like we do. So also Joe, I work for Boston Public Schools, and Joe was also a coach. He would come in and do the before school program and teach kids at the Charles Sumner Elementary School. So it was really wonderful to see him there too. So Joe, you were always such a friendly, wonderful coach, always giving me pointers. And telling me, where not to hit the ball. We have so many fond memories of you. And my girls wanted private lessons all the time from you, which we got them every now and then to do. But they just thought you were wonderful. And we all loved you and cherished you. And we hope you're playing tennis in heaven. Okay, thank you. Thank you very much.
Okay, my name is Donald Washington, and Joe is my first cousin. Actually, he goes back to the beginning. I feel like Walter Cronkite. Yes, my name is Donald Washington. I'm the first cousin of Joe Taylor, and this is a good remembrance. There's so many things I could say about Joe. I remember babysitting Mimi, Felicia, and Sunday. Taught me how to play chess. Oh yeah, tennis, basketball. What else didn't he teach us how to do? Jesus, so many things. I think that the thing that I miss about Joe, and that I'm gonna miss about Joe, is his spontaneity. Like, he could come up with something creative so everybody could have fun. You know what I'm saying? No money needed. You know what I'm saying? Just off the top of his head and get everybody inclusive. So I'm going to miss my cousin dearly. And his birthday was May 9th. My birthday's May 8th. I mean, like, that was my dude. I mean, he's the person that I looked up to for, you know, I guess I patterned myself after him. He's a jack of all trades. So am I. And I learned that from him.
Hi, my name is Juan Ramos, and I think the last time I talked to Joe, we were in a clinic, and I was hitting the ball pretty good that day. I was lucky. And at the end of the game, he said to me, "You are hitting very well. You should, come play often with us." Yeah, and I said, "Well, I live too far, and sometimes I can't make it." So he said, "Well, anyways, just keep hitting the ball." And that kept, I always use that phrase in me. And every time I do something that I need to keep going on, so just keep hitting the ball. Thank you, Joe, for that phrase.
Hi, I'm Zuri. I am someone who used to go to FPTA tennis clinics all the time. And now I'm in college, so I'm away from Boston, but I still come back once in a while and go to FPTA. I met Coach Joe when I was about 6 or 7 years old, and I used to go to the sportsmen's clinics for tennis, the family tennis clinics. And I remember I was on the younger court, and he was like the coach. I thought he was so cool because he was like coaching everyone. I'd never played tennis before, and that was my first introduction to tennis. And then I met him again, actually, maybe a few years later, because I only went to those clinics for like a few times. But I met him again at a carnival that was happening in Dorchester, and I remembered him, but I wasn't sure if he remembered me or not. But I was really like eager to show that I remembered the skills that he showed me, like about forehands and backhands and stuff. And that's a memory that I look back on a lot, like from my first time meeting Coach Joe, and even like more recently playing with Coach Joe. It's just cool how it just like circles back, and I've known him basically for a really long time. And yes, so he's the main reason that I actually play tennis, and like that I have continued to play tennis, and I really appreciate that.
A tribute to Joe Taylor. In this world of tennis, a legend did sway. Joe Taylor is his name. In the sun's warm embrace, with racket in hand, he teaches all to play, guiding us all in the court's graceful grace. Resilience, his armor in life's fierce game, he'd battle his demons, his illness, his strife. Through the challenges faced, he'd conquer the same, a symbol of courage in this game of life. Though he may be gone, his legacy lives on in every swift volley and net-strung embrace. In hearts that he touched, his spirit forgives. Joe Taylor, the legend, in our hearts find his place. Needless to say, we will miss you, Joe, but you will always be in our hearts. Thank you for everything.